What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, talking NBA basketball. Again, continuing the team previews, and we're talking about some of the better teams in the Western Conference. And today, it's all about the OKC Thunder. Now, this is a team I followed pretty closely since they moved to Oklahoma City back in 2008 and back in the early 2010s. This team was incredible. KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Steven Adams. They were good enough to make the playoffs every year. They won 5 out of 6 conference titles, and in 2012, they made it to the finals against the Miami Heat. But eventually, all those big stars left. The team went into a little bit of a drought. They still made the playoffs for a while, but starting about 2019, 2020, they couldn't even make the playoffs anymore. But then last season, this new group of guys show up, and the Thunder are suddenly one of the most competitive teams in the league. They won 57 games, the most since KD won the MVP in 2013, 2014. And this year, they might be even better. They are extremely young, extremely hungry, and stacked with talent. So there's obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who averaged over 30 points per game, finished second for the MVP, and he is likely to be even better this year. But he is far from the only scorer on this team. In fact, there are 9 players on the roster who shot 37% or better last season. So this is a team that is just stacked with offensive talent. Chet Holmgren, what a phenomenal rookie season he had. Finished second for the Rookie of the Year. Would have won it if not for someone you might have heard of by the name of Victor Wembanyama. Okay, so if not for Wemby, Holmgren is the Rookie of the Year last year. He played in all 82 games, showed massive all-around talent. He had a fearlessness defensively that led to 2.3 blocks per game. He could pass, he could shoot, he could just do it all. And when you add him and Alexander and then Jalen Williams, who are all three coming back, Jalen Williams at small forward, when you add those 3 guys to the mix, oh my goodness, already this team is incredible. And we haven't even gotten to the new additions, but Jalen Williams hit 427 from 3, averaged about 20 points per game, and they're going to be joined by 2 new arrivals, Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. Caruso is a shooting guard. He came from the Bulls, but he plays elite defense. And he also can absolutely hit a three-pointer. He hit 408 from behind the three-point line last season. And the Thunder had to trade away Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey was actually kind of struggling last year. He fell out of the starting rotation and just wasn't as good as the Thunder had hoped. And this was a trade that for most fans felt like the Thunder completely won this trade. And I think Alex Caruso is just a better fit for this team, skill-wise and otherwise. And he's just going to complete what they need. He's another guy who can absolutely hit the 3. He's a premier defender. And it's going to make defending this team very, very difficult, almost impossible, especially considering their other new player, a free agent pickup, one of the best free agent signings in OKC Thunder history. They traditionally don't really do well in free agency. I guess not a lot of players are dying to live and play in Oklahoma City, but Isaiah Hartenstein probably wants to win a title, and he probably saw what this team was doing, and he signed with the Thunder. He's got extreme size, extreme skill, extreme physicality. He was one of just 3 players in the entire league with at least 85 blocks, 85 steals, while still holding opponents to shooting below 53% at the rim. So he's a major threat to score inside, as defenders are going to have to focus on preventing the 3, which almost any other Thunder player is going to be able to do at any given time. So this addition is huge right here. Hartenstein is a great defender and a great big man. So that's just the starting 5. Back in supporting roles, you have Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort. Joe is another 3-point marksman. Hit over 40% for 2 straight seasons for Oklahoma City. And then you have Dort, who's just been a consistent producer off the bench since about 2020. Averages 10 points every season or more, sometimes 14, 15. And he's had a few big games as well. And then you also have Aaron Wiggins, another guy who can just absolutely hit a 3. He hit nearly 50%. He nailed 62 out of 126 attempts, almost 50% from 3. And then there's a lot of up-and-comers like Wallace. And then you have, of course, first-round pick Ousmane Dieng, and he's going to get more minutes and opportunities this year. He just looks better every single time that I see him play. And then there's another Jalen Williams, spelled a little bit differently, and that's another strong interior defender who can also nail the three, and he is absolute money from the free throw line. So a second guy named Jalen Williams, just to make things confusing, will be coming off the bench as well. But the Thunder are just stacked with talent up and down the roster. And with the addition of Caruso, not to mention, of course, Hartenstein as well, but Caruso especially because that extra defense and yet another threat to hit the three. This is a team that's just going to be very, very difficult to beat. They won in their first preseason game against Wemby and the Spurs yesterday. But last year, the Thunder did fall short in the playoffs. They did sweep the Pelicans. So they took care of business against the Pelicans, but they lost in 6 to the Mavs. I'll do a preview on the Mavs as well. They are absolutely stacked. These two teams might meet up again in 2025. That's going to be amazing. But I love what the Thunder are bringing to the table this year. They're definite favorites to repeat as conference champs, and I think this time they'll make it even further in the playoffs. This is a team with a legit chance to get back to the finals and maybe win their first title in the OKC era. So, a super exciting team for sure. Sacramento Kings will be facing them off at some point, I believe, in February, and maybe even before that. I'm not sure. I'll have to check the schedule, but that's going to be a fun matchup for sure that we'll be covering 100%. So, can this Thunder team make it back to the finals? They haven't been there since 2012, and that was when they went up against the Heat during the Heat super team era when they had LeBron, Wade, Chris Bosh. But the Thunder had an amazing team at that time too and fell short. This team might be even better. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to beat KD, Westbrook, Harden. But damn, this is a really good-looking team. They're extremely young. But a year more experience now, as opposed to last year, might be the difference that it makes. Your team has to be young, or at least have lots of young talent to compete in the league this day and age. And the Thunder have it in spades. So let me know what you guys think of the OKC Thunder in 24-25 season. And give me your thoughts down below. We're going to do some more team previews. I want to do one on at least 3 more teams. I want to do one on the Mavs. I want to do one on the Warriors. And we'll talk about a few other teams as well if I have time. But the season's coming up quick. So, but I did want to talk about the team that actually finished in first place last season, the very dangerous Oklahoma City Thunder. You guys have a great day. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.